What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched Chainsaw Man Episode 1. Been waiting for this one for a while. It's finally out, and we only got one episode, but we watched it, and we're going to give our impressions of it. Can't really review the whole show, but we're going to review the episode. We might review the episodes as they come out. We'll see how this goes, or we'll just review it when it's done. But I figure, with the hype of this, we can give our general impressions of it and talk about what we thought of this. Now, we both went into this without having read the manga.
Yeah, anime only.
Yeah, so we're not experts on this. We're only going based off of this one episode we've watched and what we gathered from it. But yeah, real quick recap from what we've gathered from this episode.
Spoiler warning.
We are introduced to Denji, who is a dude who's living not that great. He's living in a shack with a chainsaw dog we'll get into, named Pochita. And yeah, the dude is working for Yakuza, doing odd jobs, killing devils, which apparently is something that exists in this world. He uses Pochita as he's a chainsaw dog, so he uses him as a fucking chainsaw and kills tomato devils, other devils. And yeah, we get introduced to his ambitions where he wants a normal life. He wants to live normally. He wants a girlfriend. He wants to play video games and not essentially work as a dog, as the Yakuza essentially say that he is. He does what he's told and he'll do anything for money. Which is shown off a couple times. We are also given the information in a flashback that's very brief, doesn't give a whole lot of details, but apparently after his dad died when he was a kid, he inherited all the debt that his dad owed, and they essentially told him that you're going to work for us and pay off that debt, or we're going to kill you, chop you up, and sell your parts off for money. So that's pretty dark, and that is when he met Pochita in the graveyard, who he also noticed was dying. He offered him his blood as a way to let him regenerate off of him, and made a deal with him that they essentially were going to work together.
He has the most quick and not very conversation heavy pack I've ever seen in it.
Yeah, I mean, we could have sat there and really got into the ins and outs of their relationship, but it was just like, look, this happened. Yeah. It's like, okay, and we might dive into that later, I'm sure. But yeah, as of right now, that's what happened. I buy it. That's fine.
Sure.
We're watching an anime about a dude with chainsaws for weapons coming out of his arms, slicing things up. So I'm down for whatever. So yeah, Denji gets sent on a job from the people who hire him typically, and finds out that they had made a deal with a devil. For devil powers, and the devil that agreed to this essentially just turned all his dudes into zombies, and has this plan to bring in Denji to essentially kill him off because he doesn't like devil hunters. Just wants to get rid of him. Yeah. So it's this elaborate plot. I was actually really surprised. We'll talk about it, I guess, but that this Yakuza guy just was like, yeah, fuck it, we'll do that. But maybe he's just saying that because the devil's telling him to say that.
I would say it was probably more like, hey, you want some power? And they're like, yeah, of course we do. Mm-hmm. And that was it.
He's figuring in a world like this, they would be a little more like, I don't trust devils. Yeah. But we also don't know if that actually happened.
True.
Maybe the devil just got them and was like luring him in. Denji gets stabbed from behind. And yeah, he gets just ran through with a sword from behind, and the Devil Six, his now new zombie minions after Denji, who tries to escape but inevitably gets stabbed a shitload by all of them. Really intense stuff. And they chop him up and they throw him in the fucking dumpster. During that time, some of his blood drips into Pochito's mouth, like we saw in the graveyard. It flashes back to essentially Denji just saying, hey, if I ever die, just use my body and live a normal life, essentially. And during that flashback, Pochito, after the flashback, Pochito essentially transfers his heart into Denji. It
seems like they merged together.
Yeah. Denji wakes up, comes out. He's got a cord coming out of his chest, similar to Pochito's cord that started his chainsaw up. And Devil's confused on what the hell's going on. Kill the dude. He ends up pulling the cord, and he becomes the the titled Chainsaw Man, where he has chainsaws splitting through his arm and through his hand on both sides. It's not like a nice, neat little chainsaw. It's like coming through his arms, and he's got a whole new metal head with a chainsaw coming out of it. We've seen that in the trailer, obviously, but we're seeing it here. And he goes fucking berserk and starts just chopping people up, inevitably killing the devil that tried to lure him in and get him. And then he kills all the other zombies there because he was sent there to kill the devils, and he did it. After that, 3 people show up. I don't know if we got their names or not.
No names yet.
I assume there's some kind of devil hunter, demon slayer corp, and they show up. They see
safety services or some shit like that. Yeah.
They come in. They see the massacre that's happened. They see Denji stand there, looking ominous, kind of out of it because a lot's happened to the guy. And oddly enough, the girl seems very understanding of the situation. She assesses that he's neither human or devil, and she hugs him because he asks that, and it kind of brings him out of his chainsaw berserker state. And she kind of offers him that since he's a little bit of both, she can either treat him like a devil and kill him, or treat him like a human and take him under her wing, essentially, saying that she will feed him food.
It's almost like she was like, "You could be my dog," almost.
Yeah, it kind of felt parallel to his last situation, but an upgrade.
Yeah,
he's still somebody's, but he's gonna get fed now.
Yeah,
which is really kind of interesting. But we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
And he just kind of asks what's for breakfast, and it kind of ends there. We both watched this, and let's start with your impressions of what you thought of Chainsaw Man Episode 1.
Well, first off, we watched this late at night, and so I've been dodging bullets all fucking day, trying not to get this spoiled, which fortunately I managed. But
yeah, and luckily I don't follow a whole lot of anime stuff on the interwebs, so
yeah,
I didn't have to dodge anything.
So I was thrilled to be able to watch this spoiler free.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I had some information going into it, the studio making it, the team they put behind it, yada yada, and obviously what we saw in the trailers, which looked amazing. And so like seeing the anime and seeing the whole thing, it was definitely very well done. I only have like a single nitpick, which is the CG when he's like moving his head around is a little jarring, but it's not enough to like complain about really. So just noticeable.
I think it's one of the only times I kind of like was noticing.
Yeah, I mean, this CG multiple times, but it never looked that.
Yeah, but it was like one of the times I was focusing on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
But other than that, the animation is really good. The art style is top notch. I love the art style of this. They did a good job with the music and the sound effects. I also, I know there's going to be some people this will be negative for them, but for me, like, I love that they just do not give a fuck about the violence aspect of it. Like, it is bloody and violent. And with how sterile a lot of shows can be, it's kind of refreshing, sadly, to see something like this. And I hope it continues down this road.
I've only watched one episode of this, but it needs the gore, because if you're offering a Chainsaw Man, you want the rip and tear. You want to be visceral and intense, gritty, and nothing displays ripping through people with chainsaws as much as like blood going everywhere and shit.
Right,
it
right,
really highlights the action in that sense, especially with the sound design, the sound effects of just like going through people and shit. Like, and seeing that, it's like perfect.
Well, even like when he emerges at first and his arms are just out and the chainsaws are just fucking going, I was just like, Jesus, that's badass.
Yep.
Like, so they got the vibe down 100%.
No, it is a vibe. Like they nailed everything they needed to sell this to me.
Yeah.
The music's fucking dope. The sound effects are dope. The art style, the visuals, all that stuff, and then the action. Like, yeah, it's just like they really, taking this from page to animation. They had a vision, and I think they're onto something.
Oh yeah, for sure. And on top of that, the OP, really well done. I love like the different styles that are just kind of mashed in there. We kind of talked about it prior to watching it, but there's some movie references in there.
A lot, yeah.
But there's
It's
also
crazy.
like some like there's a moment where they do this like 1980s sci-fi text, and it just has I know the character's name, we haven't met her yet, but Power just like there, and it still literally just says Power, but in the background you see the gal we're introduced to walking Denji like a dog in the background. I was like, what the fuck is this? So yeah, I don't know. They definitely want this to be like out there, and the OP definitely adds to that as well, because like there's just really weird scenes, like the whole thing in a good way, weird. And it definitely, I think, is a good tone before you get into the show, because the show just continues that. Like, there's this like normal looking world, but it is not normal at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the weird thing. It like comes off like normal, but then they're like, "Oh, there's a tomato devil over there. Take your chainsaw dog and kill it."
Casually. I also think it's a cool little detail that when they show the corpse of the tomato devil, that the blood looked like tomato juice.
Yeah.
Almost like had that weird like slimy.
Yeah, when he was
graininess
like
to it.
pulling the chainsaw out, like I was like, "Wow, that's really kind of gross looking." If that's just like gore, and then like tomato, I'm like, "Oh, it's just the inside of a tomato." Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting detail, because they could have just made it blood, right? So, yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot more to say. It is definitely like an introduction episode, and we're talking about 20 some minutes of a show, but definitely look forward to watching more. So.
Yeah. So my impressions. First off, this is done by Mappa.
Yep.
Who's the same studio behind Jujutsu Kaisen.
I believe so. In the last seasons of Attack on Titan.
Yeah. And we are watching Jujutsu Kaisen right now, so expect a review for that sometime. But we are we're watching through it right now. This is my first time. This is not your first time, so we will talk about that. So it's been kind of cool to actively been watching that and then see this and seeing really for me an upgrade in the animation. Not saying anything about Jujutsu Kaisen. It's got great animation.
We also
but-
haven't gotten to any of the what I would call meat of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, we're still early in the first season, but yeah, just seeing that and seeing here, I'm seeing a lot of the same DNA when it comes to the way they do atmosphere, animation, action, stuff like that. Definitely a lot of similarities there. Art styles are different, of course. But it is really interesting to kind of see that contrast between the two things that they've worked on. It's a kind of an interesting time to be watching Chainsaw Man because of that. That being said, I really liked this a lot. I already kind of thought I was going to like it because when I watched the trailer, I remember when he first showed me the first one, I was like, that looks fucking cool. Then I watched the second trailer, I'm like, holy shit, this is going to be awesome. This did not fail for me. Like this is exactly what I wanted. The art style, character design, all that stuff, love it. Obviously that's from the manga, but it looks great. I'm really into the art style. I like the way the characters look.
Sorry.
And yeah, Pochito,
So adorable,
just
dude.
being like a little round dog with the chainsaw of his face is adorable, confusing, fucking awesome. I love it. Yeah, so really happy with that. The way the world is drawn, the atmosphere is really good. I was noticing a lot of the scenes, especially when the car, is driving around the bend on the road and the shadow detail, and even when Denji was in the car looking out the window and you can see his reflection, but also the outside moving, really great looking. Like I was looking, I was like, this is like movie quality. This is really good looking. So really happy with that. The world is interesting. I need to know more about it because I'm kind of confused, but I like that it just kind of thrusts you in and goes, trust us. This is the world. This is how it is. It's a pretty normal world, except for there's devils. I'd like to know more about that. I'm sure we'll find out plenty. But as of right now, I just got to accept that there are dogs with chainsaws out of their face. There's tomato monsters. There's giant, very normal tentacle monsters that can make zombies, stuff that, I'd expect from other things. And so, yeah, that's how it is. Denji's an interesting character. Don't know him all too well yet, but but he seems cool. I like that he's kind of a simple dude.
He's had a pretty pitiful life since his childhood,
He's
though. So.
super depressing, but he's
Yeah.
just like making the best of it. I like that. Also, I like his eye patch. He looks cool. I like those Japanese eye patches. And yeah, the setup is interesting. It's just enough to tell you his ambitions, why he exists, why we should pay attention to him, and sets up how he gets betrayed and gets to become the Chainsaw Man. I mean, like, this is just a straight up origin story in one episode. I'm glad it was, to the point. We just got to find out, hey, this is why he's the Chainsaw Man. I hope we see Pachito again. I don't know how it's gonna work. They merged, so maybe we'll get inner dialogue. Maybe the character's gone. I would kind of hate that, but
yeah,
it's only been one episode, so I'm not super attached.
I feel like it'll have to be an inner dialogue sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'd be blown away if he just disappeared.
Yeah, I would
Especially
be.
Since they sell merch of him and stuff. So.
Yeah, that would suck. But there's also characters in Demon Slayer they sell merch for. They're around for like 3 episodes, so
it's fair.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a very cute dog. So I would buy. I as of right now, 1 episode will buy Pachito merch. But yeah, hoping to see the dog come back for sure, because I really liked their dynamic. I liked that he would just talk about his thoughts, and the dog would just sit there and just bark at him or whatever. Really cute. And yeah, the action is awesome. We only saw a little bit where he just went through a crowd chopping him up with a chainsaw, and it was dope. Every swing looked like aggressive, visceral. Everything's just ripping up. There's a scene where he was like coming through the crowd, hitting people. There's a couple top-down view shots of like where he was just chopping dudes up, getting close to him. And then every time I see any anime where people are like flipping in the air, swinging and shit, I always think of Kashurn, but very Kashurn-esque, flipping around and fucking chainsawing into the face of the giant devil. Very satisfying. You want him to fuck shit up, and he's doing it.
Yeah.
And it just looks awesome. Music also is really good. Every time a fight's about to start, music like starts up. Very fitting. Has a really good pace, really intense, really fun. And yeah, the animation's great on the fights too. I can't wait to see where that goes, because I'm already very satisfied with like him just chopping people up. I'd like to see what it's like when he's fighting somebody who can fight back better. So we'll see where that goes. But outside of that, I don't know where it's going, because I haven't looked into this at all. So This is blind, but I'm really happy with where it's at. And I'm really excited to see the next episode. This is definitely, for me, a must-watch anime as of right now, unless it just gets really bad. But I don't think it's going to do that. So, yeah, I really liked it. It was an awesome first episode, and I'm definitely ready for more. Yeah. And yeah, it's one episode, but if I could grade it as an introduction, I'd probably give it an A-.
I think it's fair. I'd say A- as well.
Yeah.
I go a little higher, but I do have some nitpicks. But
I almost want to give it an A, because I like really was all about it, but I also don't have enough info to like love it yet. But it was fucking awesome.
yeah, and with the CG being as noticeable as it was, that is a little bit of a drawback. But again, it's not gonna break anything for me, other than if we're gonna pick at things. I mean, that's something I would put out there, but it's probably my only complaint. So.
Yeah, I just don't have the long-term investment yet, but my anticipation for the series at this point, A+. This is like must-watch for me. So
yeah, well, I mean, this whole season's fucked for me, but yeah, I'm watching the rest of them. So
yeah, you showed me some Bleach, and that's looking. I watched Bleach a long time ago. I apparently got like not that far, but far enough.
You were about 30-40%, I'd say.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it, but yeah, you're showing me some fight scenes I won't talk about, because we're not talking about Bleach here, and I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. But It's animated really well. It looks great, and it almost made me want to catch up so I could know what's going on.
Dude, it's beautiful.
It looked really good. We were kind of discussing before, like, is this just what anime is going to be like now? Like, with these high budget, crazy animations.
Great animes are lately.
But with, every store that I go into here in the United States having anime stuff, it's bigger than it's ever been. And then, they're obviously doing well over in Japan when it comes to anime. So if there's ever been a time where you want to put a budget on more anime than ever before, it's right now.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it kind of makes sense.
Also, like One Piece taking over Times Square for a day, that was awesome too. So
Yeah. Yeah, people fucking love One Piece. I saw somebody talking about that recently. They said they like loved it and hated it. They hated it because they said like it just goes on forever, never gets to anything, but they can't stop watching it because the characters are too good and the story's good.
it's the best world building you'll ever see.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they said. I thought it was funny. They're like, I love that show, but I hate it. I'm like, that's funny.
It sucks because it's hard to like. This is going off topic, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to recommend because of the length. But I would 100% if you can start watching that show. It's so good. So
Wish I had the time. Wish I could just clone myself, share consciousness with that, and then let them watch it, and then I can just retain it.
at 2 episodes a week, you'd catch up eventually.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, we'll save that for another chat.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, wrapping this up. Chainsaw Man is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
One episode, I'm already sold, and can't wait to see more. So, anything else you want to say on it?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. I think I'll probably, the one thing I have taken away from this, I will say, is I was talking with a coworker today. I've never watched Vinland Saga. That's also Mappa.
Really?
I'm kind of curious to check that out now.
Interesting. Isn't that on Netflix? I could have swore I saw it.
Maybe the next season comes out. Like Chainsaw Man's this season, next season's Vinland Saga. So
They're busy.
they don't stop.
Yeah.
So
Gotta be a rough job, just constantly.
and underpaid. 100%.
That's not surprising. Anything else?
No.
All right, let us know in the comments below. What did you guys think of Chainsaw Man? Did it meet your expectations? Did it not meet your expectations? Are you coming into this blind, or have you read the manga? Does it live up to the manga? I know you guys are always like, it's not as good as the manga. I get that. But what did you think of this as an anime?
No spoilers, please.
Yeah, no spoilers, please. Like I said, this is blind for us, so don't want to know anything. And yeah, what did you like about this episode? What didn't you like about this episode? And I'd ask you what it's missing, but if you know something I don't want to hear about it. So let me know, respectfully and spoiler-free in the comments below what you thought of this episode. But that's going to do it for this review of our impressions of Chainsaw Man Episode 1. And yeah, I've been Seth, this has been Chevy, and until the next episode, see you later.